I was on a Facebook group the other day, and someone had asked a question. It was a valid question, and I gave a response based off personal experience. If you like this video, click like. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, hit subscribe. Your support would be greatly appreciated. Hello, Miles on the Road subscribers and followers. I was on a Facebook group the other day, and someone had asked a question. It was a valid question, and I gave a response based off personal experience. And I even said in the post that I don't know why I'm posting this, because everybody's going to criticize. Now, recognize I wasn't trying to brag or anything. I was simply answering a question based on my experience. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, immediately it became, people pounding their chests, guys pounding their chests, telling you how stupid I was for even thinking about doing it that way, because macho men do it this way. And I've spent my life, well, I'm 100, most of my life I've 140 pounds. Just recently, after I quit smoking, I got up to 180. I'm 6 foot tall. I'm not a macho guy. I'm pretty mild-mannered. I don't get into that kind of thing. And I'll tell you why. Because it is very, very damaging to the person that you're trying to impress. And here's my example. I had the privilege and the honor to serve in the United States Navy on a submarine called the USS Georgia, SSBN 729, from 1991 to 1995. It was a nuclear missile submarine. Being young and having just gotten out of the Navy, I like to talk about my experiences in the Navy. That's what I'd done for the last 4 years. And so I came home. And, my family had Sunday breakfast every Sunday for as long as I can remember. And we'd always go over there and have breakfast. Wheat pancakes with maple syrup. And I was, I just gotten out of the Navy. I had a young wife, and I was young, and I went over there to my family's house, and I'm going through all the details of my life and how amazing it was and incredible, and all the experiences I had going to Hawaii and being in the Pacific Ocean and all my accomplishments. And my grandpa looked up at me and said, "Well, I guess that's good, but you haven't done anything unless you're being depth charged like I was on my submarine." And I looked down and I said, you're right. And until recently, and I mean recently, like within the last couple of years, I've never talked about my experiences on the submarine, because I knew that it wasn't worth talking about. I knew that my experiences was nothing compared to others. And, I wasn't going to showboat my experiences. They always say there's always a faster gun in the West. Billy the Kid was shot to death, and he thought he was all that. So I didn't want to be shot. I didn't want to be, outdrawn or make it a contest. So I just never talked about it. Well, a few years ago, he passed away. And I don't know, family asked me if I could do some research on him and find out what he had actually done in the Navy. And come to find out, he was in World War II. He was in the Navy for 6 months and had never served in a submarine. He actually was a hospital corpsman, a medic, and never left the United States. It devastated me. It absolutely devastated me that I kept my mouth shut about my experiences because he had obviously witnessed more, and there was no way I was going to ever compare myself to that great man, just to find out that he fibbed about it. And it was an ego thing. Just like the other day on Facebook, it was an ego thing. I ended up deleting my post because I didn't want to get into this ego contest. I was only answering a question, and I should have known better. I mean, I really should have known better that I need to keep my mouth shut, because everybody wants to tell you how much better they are than you are. I mean, it always is that way. I've never met anybody, never have I ever met anybody where I will share a life experience of mine and somebody not either say, I did it better, or it was worse for me. Because if you're complaining about something in your life, they'll say, oh, you haven't seen anything until you had to do this. Or you'll say, you know, I really had a great experience in my life, like serving on a United States submarine. And they say, oh, well, you haven't done it this well. And it's very hurtful. It is one of the most hurtful things anybody can do to you. Now, the reason I am telling you this story, because imagine that your child or your grandchild has just been told a story that diminished what they did. So, you know, maybe your child, adult child, comes home and says, I just got a scholarship to XYZ school. So what? I went to, you know, Harvard, Yale, or whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, you're smarter than me. And so they shut up. Think about it. Just think about the next time you tell somebody how much better or how much worse that you've had it. Now think about it in the reverse. You know, somebody has just had a catastrophic experience in their life, and they come home and they tell you about it because they need to talk about it. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until this happens to you. So now you've allowed this person to believe that their experience wasn't that bad and that they're substandard because they can't deal with what just happened to them. And then we wonder why folks in our country are struggling with mental health issues. It's just, so be careful. Be careful on how much you brag about how much better or how much worse you've had it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.